I'm an 18-year-old male. I was adopted by a couple who separated shortly after my adoption, and I was eventually taken away from them and placed into foster care when I was 3, so that's where I grew up. Recently, I acquired details about my biological parents from a family friend who helped connect them to my adoptive parents all those years ago. So I looked them up online. They have 3 kids, a boy, teen, and twin girls, young teens. The son has the same name as mine. A few weeks ago, I went to the church they go to and saw them from a distance. I didn't introduce myself. I just wanted to see them before they knew who I was. Also figured out where they live, where the kids go to school, where they work, and other general information. About 2 weeks ago, I finally sent a message to my mom, explaining who I am and telling her that I would like to meet them. She saw the message that day but didn't reply for a whole week and then just sent a very short note telling me they're not interested in knowing more about me or having me in their lives, not to contact her or her family ever again. I sent a message to my dad then and he said we would have a phone call. We had that call last week. He didn't even let me tell him anything about myself. He explained that they had me when they were 22 and didn't want a child back then, so they gave me to another couple and there's really nothing for us to discuss. He said he didn't want to know more about me or hear from me again. I'm not going to lie, this was difficult to hear, and I needed a few days to process it. But I get it, they didn't want me then, and they don't want me now. I'm trying my best to get over it, but I still have 3 siblings. Maybe they would want to get to know me? So I sent another message to my dad and thanked him for taking the time to speak with me and being frank about what he wanted. I explained that I respect the fact that he and my mom don't want me in their lives, and that's their choice, and I will respect that. However, I have 3 siblings, and I would like to meet and get to know them, so I said I'm happy for them to tell them. He called me an hour later. This time he was angry and told me that he'd made it clear that I had no place in their family and that I should stay away from all 5 of them forever. He said the kids don't know about me and it will stay that way. I wasn't expecting him to call me or the aggression, so I was kind of shocked, but I was like, but that should be their choice. And he said he's not going to discuss his family with me. Ended the call by saying, do not contact any of us ever again. Am I the idiot if I went to talk to my siblings, introduce myself and let them know they have an older brother? I'm not trying to be an idiot here, but I don't think the parents get to make this decision about the children. I do want a relationship with my siblings. Of course, only if they want that too. If my siblings don't want to get to know me, I'll stay away from them. You are the idiot, but not once the eldest turns 18. Reach out to him then and he can decide whether to tell the younger sisters. If he doesn't, reach out to them when they turn 18. Just be sure to respect any boundaries they set. I would advise waiting until the girls are 18. Everyone involved would be an adult by then. However, I think OP should consider something besides reaching out to his siblings. OP, go get registered on an ancestry site or 23andMe. Let the ball roll from there. Overall, I think it's very interesting that their second son has the same name as you do, and well, they probably don't want to explain to that son the possible reason is that he was your replacement for when they were ready for kids. Going with this route, they may be able to cut you off from your siblings for now. However, they won't be able to control the actions of relatives who want to get to know you. Not only will DNA testing reveal this, but it sounds like they all live in the same general area. Some people know enough about the situation to put OP in touch with the bio parents, and the 2 boys have the same freaking name. This isn't going to remain a secret, and there's going to be tension between the parents and the siblings, because most kids aren't thrilled when they find out that their parents lied to them. You are the idiot. You're prepared to upend children's lives to satisfy your desires and cause significant emotional distress. And for what? Do not contact them. Leave those poor children alone. And go get therapy for yourself. Sounds like you've been through a lot and you're now looking for a quick fix, ready-made family. My son is going to an expensive school next year and I'm financially nervous about it. It's close to $16,000 a year after aid. I'm suddenly worried about providing for my younger sons. I'm a single dad, now that I have this financial monkey on my back. A few years before my son graduated, his class had an assembly where they gave out scholarship money. The money was raised from foundations or groups like Rotary. My son won 2 awards totaling $10,000. The problem was that we thought we were on the same page regarding the money. I said it was going to be used for school and he agreed. I meant that it would be used to pay me back since I'd already paid for his school, and he meant that he would go to college with $10,000 to spend as he sees fit. Of course, he's saying that it's his money and I'm saying it's not. It's for college, and since I paid for it, it goes to me to pay me back. I would have to factor that money into everything if I'd known he was getting it. I told him I wasn't messing around, and all I had to do was tell the teacher who was in charge of distributing the money to send the check in my name. He will do it. Of course, I'd rather have my son see it my way before having to override him like he's 11. Edit. He didn't earn squat. The teacher in charge of the money said it was more of a popularity contest and gave bragging rights to the school and donors to say they sent kids to UCSB. You are the idiot. You should have had a serious conversation with your son about this long ago. Also, you saved this up for him to pay you back? Most parents save up for a college fund for their kids for exactly that, to get them through college. That's it. No expectations for their kids to pay them back. Sorry, you had more kids than you planned for, but it's kind of crappy of you to expect your child to do that. Shouldn't you be happy that your kid made it to college, got those scholarships, and support him, instead of dogging him about money? Not the idiot. People who donated that money for the scholarship, I'm sure, did not intend it to be used for whatever. They donated with the intention that it would be used for tuition, books, room. I don't think the father has the right to the money, but it isn't the kid's money to do whatever he feels like with it. That is not in the spirit of a scholarship. You are the idiot. You also can't take claim to his scholarship money. If he's an adult, the money will be legally made out in his name. You can restart a savings account and hope you'll be able to help out your boys, or they will have to rely on student aid and loans if they choose to go to college. Legally, you have no right to tell your son you now own his award money. He could take you to court and fight you for it. You'll have a huge issue on your hands, and most importantly, you will strain the relationship with your son. I can already tell you're not going to put that money aside for your other children. You have a troublesome personality. Did you already spend it? I'm a father of 2 girls, 23, Olivia, and nearly adult Joyce. To give some context, the girls don't get along that well. They both have different personalities, different everything. Besides that, Joyce has multiple health conditions that cause her to faint occasionally. Olivia thinks Joyce uses her conditions to keep attention, but I don't believe this for a second. Joyce can't make anything up, especially when she faints, whether it be a birthday party or wedding or any other event. Anyways, Olivia's boyfriend, 24 Kirk, proposed to her recently. Since he still lives with his parents and his parents aren't approving of the relationship, I asked him and Olivia if we could host their engagement party. My wife agreed on my behalf and started getting everything ready for the party. Of course, the extended family was invited. It was rather larger than I'd expected. The party kicked off and Olivia and Kirk kept sitting. Joyce was staying upstairs because she felt a little sick, so we let her. But my brother insisted that she come downstairs and celebrate her sister's happy occasion. Joyce got dressed and joined us. I noticed she wasn't feeling well. I asked her several times if she was okay, and she said yes. Then, minutes later, she suddenly fell after getting up from her seat. We all panicked, though she didn't faint, only reeled off balance for a few seconds. Olivia started mumbling something, but Kirk got up and said, "Don't mind her, she's once again just being an attention-seeking witch." I was shocked. I asked him what he'd said, but Olivia got involved and said that he was right and Joyce was trying to steal attention from her that night. I got so mad I called the party off and told them both to get out of my house. My wife and Olivia freaked out and begged that I let this go and they'd have Kirk apologize for this particular line, but I was having none of it and had them leave. Olivia was crying when they left. My brother jumped to defend her, saying I overreacted and Kirk was just mad and misspoke, but I told him, "Listen, if they're going to disrespect my daughter in her own house, then we're going to have a problem." Everyone left and my wife didn't stop criticizing me for doing this, ruining our daughter's celebration and making her resent us. I need judgment to know if I overreacted and went too far here. Not the idiot. Who does Kirk think he is to comment on a literal child in that way? What you said was spot on. If he can't show your daughter some respect in her own house, he can get out. Keep sticking up for your little daughter. And it makes me wonder why Kirk's family disapproves of the relationship. Sounds like Kirk and older daughter are 2 peas in a pod. You are the idiot. You let your younger daughter be pressured into attending, despite her not feeling well, and your full awareness of the tension between the girls. I'm interested in why your oldest daughter thinks the younger one is an attention seeker. Siblings show a side of themselves to each other that parents don't see. At any rate, you created the circumstances for this to happen and then overreacted. I don't know about everyone else, but this is giving me serious golden child versus scapegoat vibes. Kinda need a better idea about if these fainting spells generally flare up when the attention is on Olivia and if this was a breaking point of past events. I can't decide on who is the idiot here without more context. I agree with you. This feels a little bit off. I'm just going to say, does the older girl have a legitimate beef? Has the younger sister been favoured their entire lives? Is there a real medical situation going on here? For the older sister and her fiancé to be so upset about this situation, and the uncle insisting the kid join the party, makes me think Dad doesn't see the forest through the trees. Could Dad possibly have blinders on? This, unfortunately, isn't uncommon with siblings when one is medically needy. They feel the other sibling gets all the attention, is always given a pass, etc., even when not necessarily true. The sacrifices they have to make to accommodate being in a family with a medically needy sibling is an imposition, and one they don't feel they need to make because it isn't their fault. I've been a makeup artist for the past 9 years. I charge $500 for bridal makeup, around $250 for bridesmaids, etc., but for regular party makeup I charge about $150. So a few weeks ago, a lady had booked me for a party makeup on July the 25th. She booked at 10 a.m. I went there thinking I'd do a regular party makeup. I'd agreed to $150 with her. As I was there, some people were coming over, I assume relatives. At some point it slips from a woman about the wedding, and I realise the woman I'm doing the makeup on is the bride. I'm doing a bridal makeup charge for simple party makeup. I was furious about how she lied about the occasion, but I kept doing my job. After we were finished, she gave me $150, and I notified her we were $350 short. She asked what I meant by that, and I said I did bridal makeup. You're the bride. That's what I charge for brides. She said we'd agreed on simple party makeup and that I was ripping her off because I worked the same amount of time and used the same products I'd use in a bridal makeup, so the event title shouldn't matter. I told her she doesn't get to dictate how I form my prices. She refused to pay me at all, called me a scammer, and told me to get out. Before I left, her mom threw $200 in my face and told me to get lost. But I usually use the same products both in bridal and party makeup. The only difference is the setting sprays I use, and after I found out she's a bride, I used a higher quality setting spray and mixed it with some fixing spray to improve the results. I've already put her on a blacklist and notified other fellow makeup artists about her. I should have probably removed her makeup there and then, to be honest. Kinda regret I didn't do it. Am I the idiot? She didn't ask for bridal treatment and didn't do a makeup test run. So you used the same products on simple party makeup and attempted to upcharge her $350 for what exactly? Just because she's the bride and you want to squeeze more money out of her? If you used different products or it took way longer, then sure, I can see the upcharge, but you didn't, and it didn't. So yes, you are the idiot. I'm still trying to do the mental gymnastics in my head to how OP justifies $500 for bridal. I had my makeup done recently for my wedding, and it was a standard $120 per person, and everyone, including me, had the same products and amount of time spent on them. OP is a standard con artist that sees weddings as a cash cow. A $350 difference for a couple of sprays to set the makeup? That spray better be made of God's tears. OP, you are the idiot and a scammer. She didn't ask for bridal makeup, she asked for party makeup, meaning she did not put extra responsibility or pressure on you. My brother and his ex-wife divorced 3 years ago. They have a 10-year-old son. They have joint custody. My nephew usually spends some time at our place every week. This is his dad's time. His mother is religious and doesn't eat pork, which is her choice. Their divorce decree also says she's responsible for religious matters. Again, not my concern. When it comes to food, my nephew eats the same food that the rest of the family eats. He's of course free to not eat what he doesn't want to eat. We're not telling him he must eat pork, but if we're eating pork and he wants to eat it too, we don't stop him. If he asks me to make something different, I will do that, but he always eats the same food as everyone else. So my ex-sister-in-law called me yesterday and told me to stop feeding him pork. I told her that he eats whatever he wants, and I'm not going to enforce her eating guidelines on my nephew. Also, not really my problem. She should talk to her ex-husband if she has any concerns. I checked with my brother, she'd already tried to talk to him, and he told her to screw off. So apparently, what happened was that my nephew asked his mom to make pork ribs, because he ate them here and loved them, and that caused all of this. My husband says I could be more cooperative if I wanted to, only to keep the peace. I don't see how I should inconvenience myself by enforcing someone else's religious eating restrictions on her son, especially when the kid loves the food anyway and his dad doesn't mind. Am I the idiot for not being respectful of her wishes? You are the idiot. It's a pretty simple request. Don't make pork on days the kid comes over. Do you not eat anything else? It's not some big inconvenience. It's a religious matter, which means the mom makes the decision. You and your brother are being petty because of your beef with ex-sister-in-law, pun intended. It's also an idiot move to argue that it's the child's responsibility to advocate for himself and ask for a different meal if he doesn't want to eat pork. That's a lot to put on a 10-year-old, to decide if it's more important to politely eat the food that has been made for him by a family that knows he's not supposed to eat pork, or to follow the religion he practices with his mom and stand up to the adults. I've been that child. Whenever the non-Jewish side of the family babysat me, my grandmother especially, they would always happen to be eating pork that day. I would always find it hurtful that they never remembered I couldn't have had it, though years later, I realized that it really wasn't accidental, and I always had to choose how to handle it, which was just different sorts of stressful. Not the idiot, she is your ex-sister-in-law. If your brother doesn't have an issue with his son eating pork, then you are doing nothing wrong. It's called joint custody for a reason. You also go out of your way to make him something else if he doesn't want to eat what you're eating. With prices of groceries, that is going above and beyond aunt duties. Not the idiot. My oh my, I'm honestly very surprised that people are dragging you over the coals when you'll make something else if the kid asks, and it sounds like he likes pork. I guess forcing your religion and eating habits on a child old enough to say, I don't like that, is normal to his mom. I'm not sure at what age a child gains bodily autonomy, but since forcing grandma's hugs on a toddler is traumatizing, I imagine forcing food choices on a tween is bad too. Oh, the ignorant, foolish hypocrites are out today.